Jigsaw explores our interest in the way materials, be it natural or synthetic, respond to energy induction and the transformations that are produced. This hopefully represents a crossroads of two worlds, the digital and the real, and the forms that inhabit there. Firstly, we will investigate some of the sound sources that we use for the piece. One of our interests is that the way sound and visuals are related to one another in a theoretical and physical sense. These natural sound recordings gave us a rich source to start work on the piece. Sounds from outside were also used. Here we have a pigeon that sounds like a car. The sounds were then assembled at Thought Universe Electronic Music Studio. That's me, Mark. Working on the laptop. The sounds were recorded into the computer and then further manipulations were carried out in programs like Max MSP, SoundHack, C-Sound. Here we have a screenshot of Logic and you can see all the sounds listed on the left there. Also, sounds were manipulated in an analog fashion. The computer helped us to produce new sound and also to assist in the file management of all the sounds that were used throughout the piece. The sounds are put into different categories, such as pitch sounds, non-pitch sounds, different sound shapes, textures. Sounds with a strong resonance often displayed a fundamental tone, enabling me to tune the sound into a sort of scale. Then the harmonic scale was used to produce tone palettes above the found fundamental within the sound. Now we moved into our programming Max MSP, which is like a sort of platform to be able to perform the sound in real time, with many different assignable parameters located to the sound and also to the visuals as well, which we will see later on in the DVD. Here you can hear like a sort of granulization texture mixed with sort of a bubbling FM synthesis patch. This was pretty much in the early developments of Jigsaw. During this process, you were always listening and taking notes of what parameters enabled what type of sound. This enabled you to sort of modify the patch and streamline it for performance purposes. This device can be further enhanced to enable multi-speaker diffusion, and also perhaps using some sort of MIDI interface. Here we have the use of the keypad to trigger certain elements from a sound file list object. Here we see Richard working on the visuals for Jigsaw. Now we will start to talk about the visual elements that went in towards creating the piece. Richard's working with a software called Final Cut Pro. This is in the latter stages of the development of the piece. Next we will see some of the visual clips that we used for the piece. Here we have some sand grains. This sort of relates to theoretical aspects of how sound can be produced. Here we have another representation of pieces being shuffled around. This again relates to the aesthetic of Jigsaw. The shifting of components into a form, usually into an abstract form. We've taken that representation with the glass and made it into some sort of like 3D object that's moving around in a virtual space. This is just filmed straight from the laptop. So this is actually rendering as it was being filmed into a movie file, which was then put back into Jitter and then reprocessed again. This is a matrix rendering patch where a 3D object is being rendered into a QuickTime movie. A series of QuickTime movies were produced. Then these were reintroduced into Jitter, where further processing took place. By taking a smaller piece or an object, working with it, and then reintroducing it into a larger element. Working from a microstructure up to a macrostructure. So this is rendering one of our objects that we created, an OpenGL object. A .ob object. This has been controlled via the mouse, and various parameters are being changed to create a reaction. Now we're searching for our movie that we've just made. The movie's found. And is displayed. The next stage was actually putting the sound to the objects. This is again done in Jitter. We'd feed our sound into the patches and create movements, which were then re-recorded out again and edited finally into the composition. This is again showing the direction we want to head in with the piece ultimately is to be able to perform it into a concert situation, having the visual projected from one computer and the sound running from another. These can be linked together in a reciprocal performance loop by the sound operator and the visual operator, with the possible inclusion of traditional instrumentalists. This concludes our presentation.